Hi, buddy. All right, so we're going to pick up for our read aloud today in the Chocolate Touch. You can get this out of your toolkit, and as I'm reading and you're listening to me, you can follow along in your book. Okay, so we're going to pick up where we left off. We're on the top of page 17. All right, so here we go. That's just what I thought, Dr. Cranium said. I can tell by looking at him that he eats much too much candy. The doctor shone a little electric light into John's right ear. Then he shone it into John's left ear. Then he shone it into John's nose. He told John to open wide and say, "Ah." Then he shone the light into John's mouth. Much too much candy. Gracious me, he seems to be full of candy. He told John to sit down and relax. Then he picked up a small rubber-headed hammer and gave John a light tap on his right knee, just below the joint. John's foot gave a weak kick. John giggled. "It's nothing to laugh about," Mr. Midas said. "No, John," the doctor reproved him. "A healthy little boy who didn't eat too much candy would kick harder than that." "I'm sorry," John said politely, "but I can kick harder if you want me to." He gave a sudden high kick, which knocked the hammer out of Dr. Cranium's hand. It landed on its rubber head and bounced across the room. "John!" exclaimed Mrs. Midas. "I'm so sorry, Dr. Cranium." "John, tell the doctor you're sorry for kicking his hammer." "I'm sorry I kicked your hammer," John said. "I would recommend less candy," Dr. Cranium told Mr. and Mrs. Midas. "An upset stomach can lead to all sorts of complications." On the way home, Mrs. Midas tried to explain to John what she thought the doctor meant by complications. "You see," she said, "if you put too much of one kind of food in your stomach and not enough of other kinds, it's bad for your whole body because different parts of your body need different kinds of foods. Do you understand?" "I think so," John said. "You've been eating so much sweet stuff," Mr. Midas added, "that there isn't room for eggs and meat and milk and bread and spinach and apples and fish and bananas and all the other things you're supposed to have to make you grow big and strong." "I like bananas," John said, "especially thin slices covered with chocolate. They're called banana surprises." Oh, Mr. Midas looked at Mrs. Midas, and Mrs. Midas looked at Mr. Midas. They both shrugged their shoulders. Sometimes it was hard to make John understand things. At home, while Mrs. Midas was busy in the kitchen, Mr. Midas continued to reason with John. "You mean you'd rather eat candy than anything else, and chocolate rather than any other kind of candy?" Mr. Midas asked. "Yes," John assured him. "Oh, yes." "Don't you think there's such thing as enough?" Mr. Midas persisted. "Don't you think that things are best in their places? I mean, don't you think there's a time for spaghetti, and a time for roast beef, and even a time for pickled herring and garlic toast, as well as a time for chocolate? Or would you rather have chocolate all the time?" "Chocolate all the time," John replied emphatically. "Chocolate's best, that's all. Other things are just food, but chocolate's chocolate." "I think I understand," Mr. Midas broke in sharply. "Very well." He took a deep breath before going on. "John," he said, "if you can't understand what sort of diet is really best for you, can't you at least get into your head that you make your mother very unhappy when you eat so much candy that you can't eat anything else?" The conversation always seemed to go around to the effect of John's candy eating on John's mother. John couldn't see how it could possibly do her any harm if he ate candy. He sat silent for a moment. Then he said, "May I go out and please play, Daddy?" So I have a prediction. I think there is no way that he's going to stop eating chocolate. He is so obsessed and addicted to chocolate. He's going to keep eating it, and I bet you he's probably going to get pretty sneaky about it too, since they told him to stop. All right, we're going to find out. All right, bye, bud. We'll continue reading some more tomorrow. You can put your bookmark on page 22. Chapter 2 will pick up here tomorrow. All right, bye.